What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and our 2022 college football predictions continue with the Clemson Tigers. Will Clemson rise back up to being that playoff team that we have really known them to be for the last almost decade? Maybe not quite that long, but for the last several years. Or was last year a sign of things to come? As Clemson, have they kind of lost their hold on the ACC and lost that, really being that top tier team? Like, it was Clemson and Alabama. Now Georgia all of a sudden is right there with them. And so that's the big question. I think it's going to be a really, really interesting year for Clemson to see where they wind up, because I think it'll tell us a lot about this program moving forward. Here are some of the predictions for Clemson heading into 2022. The FBI has them at 11.1 and 1.6, so maybe one loss for them. That would include potentially in the ACC championship game. They give them about a 70% chance of winning the Atlantic Division, which, let's be honest here, the Atlantic Division is better than it has been in a long time. You look at NC State, you look at Wake Forest. Florida State has a chance to be pretty decent. I think Louisville is a sleeper team in that division, so it's going to be a better division than we've seen in a while. Athlon has them at 11-1. The over/under is at 10.5, and I think most people expect this team to go 11-1 or 12-0. Some maybe at 10-2. So yeah, I think the 10-5 is pretty fair right there for the over/under. Looking at this Clemson team heading into this year, I think the offense, it's all about the quarterback and the offensive line. They had a lot of injuries last year. I think the running back position, wide receivers, they'll be okay there. Going to be back and healthy with a lot of these guys. The offensive line has to get better. DJ Uiagalelei has to play better, or he won't be the starting quarterback. I think he's got it in him, though. I think you will see him improve this year, especially if the offensive line can do a better job protecting. But this defense is going to be absolutely loaded, and that's why a lot of people think Clemson has a chance to get back to the college football playoff. They might have the best defense in the country this year. Alabama definitely in that conversation. Georgia, even with all that they lost, they'll be back to playing some good defense. But Clemson might have the best defense. I think they do definitely have the best defensive line, and they're athletic at linebacker, still pretty strong in the secondary. That defense is a big reason why, again, people are very high on this Clemson team. Here's the schedule for them. You look at the non-conference. Of course, they play South Carolina at the end of the year, but they have Notre Dame again. And just a couple of years ago, they went to Notre Dame. They'll do it again this year, and that could be one of the tougher games on the schedule. And then you look at who they play out of the Coastal Division. They play Miami. Miami figures to be maybe the favorite in that division. So a pretty tough schedule here for Clemson. They start off with Georgia Tech playing, I think that game's actually at Mercedes-Benz, so it's in Atlanta, so basically a road game. I don't know if they consider that a neutral site game or a road game. But that's a game where Clemson is just going to be the better team. Georgia Tech, I really felt like this program was headed in the right direction. And then last year made me think that maybe they're really not. And maybe they still are kind of stuck there at the bottom of the ACC. So I think Clemson will win that game. And I think they'll beat Furman and Louisiana Tech easily. So I think they start off 3-0. Tough game against Wake Forest on the road. As good as Wake Forest was last year and as bad as Clemson was last year, compared to their normal standards, Clemson still dominated this game, and it was because of the line of scrimmage. And I don't really see anything from Wake Forest that makes me think they're going to be a lot better there. I think Clemson is just going to be the bigger, more physical team. I think you will see that again this year. Wake Forest will make some plays. It'll be probably closer than last year, especially playing on the road. But I think Clemson just too much on the defensive side of the ball. They will win this one. A pretty close game, but I do have Clemson, and I have them moving on to 4-0. Next up is NC State on October the 1st. Probably going to be a ton of hype around this game. Of course, NC State winning last year, and they are a team that people are... I saw them picked in the top 10 by a lot of people this year. I think they're going to be good, but maybe not that good. The game is at Clemson. It's going to be one of those revenge games. I think it's going to be one of those games where there's a lot of hype around it. I don't remember if this was a possibility for College Game Day. Don't remember who else was playing this day. But maybe College Game Day is there. Probably an ABC primetime type game again. Not looking at the rest of the schedule, I can't say that for sure. But it's going to be a big game, and there's going to be a lot of hype around this game. And people are going to be expecting a great game. And I think they're going to see a game it's a blowout. I think Clemson is going to dominate this game. it's just going to be that one game that they are so up for. They will be so motivated for playing at home. NC State, I just don't see going in there and winning this game. I like Clemson big. I think they win this game and move on to 5-0 and try and kind of show that, look, Clemson is back. Dabo will have them fired up. I just have a gut feeling that this game will be a big win for Clemson. Then after that, they play Boston College on the road October the 8th. You look for them to maybe have a letdown here. If they do go out and play a great game against NC State and it's a blowout, maybe you have a letdown against Boston College, potentially even an upset alert type game. I don't think Boston College is going to be good enough to do it, though. I think it's pretty close, but I'm going to say that Michigan will win this game. Clemson will win this game and improve to 6-0. Sorry, I just recorded a Michigan video. I hope I didn't say it that before that time, but obviously we're talking about Clemson here. Florida State coming up next on October the 15th on the road. Boston College, probably a little bit of a wake-up call. This is an interesting game, though. Florida State's going to be a pretty good team this year. I don't know that they're on Clemson's level. Of course, last year was a great game, and this time it is on the road. But again, I think Clemson is going to be much better than they were last year. And so I'm not quite willing to pull the trigger on this one. I think Florida State has a really good chance. This is kind of an upset alert game if I'm looking at Clemson's schedule, just because I think Florida State they'll be the hungry team, the motivated team, looking to get that huge win. But I think maybe a close call against Boston College keeps Clemson laser focused for this game. They will win it. It'll be close. It'll be hard fought, but give me the Tigers in a close one. And I have them moving on to 7-0 before playing Syracuse on October the 22nd. Not really concerned with this game. Syracuse, to me, does not look like they're going to be very good this year. They've got a great running back, but Clemson will be all over that. I think they win big and move on to 8-0. After that, it's Notre Dame on the road. They do get a bye week before this game. I just have a feeling that Clemson's going to trip up somewhere. I don't know that they're going to be 12-0 good this year, and this seems like the obvious pick. It's on the road at Notre Dame. Very tough place to play. Notre Dame's going to be good this year. Maybe not playoff good, but they'll be good. They'll have a defense that can keep this game probably pretty low scoring. I know Clemson's defense is going to be great as well. But I like Notre Dame to win this game. I think they pull off the upset, get a huge win. And like I said, I have a feeling Clemson's going to lose somewhere. Maybe it's Florida State on the road, or maybe it's Notre Dame on the road. But somewhere they trip up, and I'm going to say it's against Notre Dame. They'll give them their first loss of the season. After that, they play Louisville, a sneaky good Louisville team. I don't think people are talking about them enough. I think they have a chance to win some big games this year. It's a home game, though, for Clemson. Don't really see Louisville coming in there, and it'll be an angry Clemson team coming off of a loss. So I think they win this one by a couple of touchdowns and get back on track, get to 9-1. Miami is next. I think Miami can compete with Clemson. I think these rosters are pretty similar. I'm really high on Miami. If you followed the channel, you know that. But I don't see Miami coming into Death Valley and winning. I just think it's too tough of a place to play. Clemson will be up for this one. It'll be a huge game. I'm high on Miami, so I think that this could be even a top 10 matchup. And I think Clemson will be ready, playing at home. They get the win. It's a great game. Clemson wins it by about 10, and they move on to 10-1. Finally, South Carolina. I believe we will have a close game in the rivalry this year. South Carolina is going to be much improved. Spencer Rattler at quarterback, going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. They've got some talent around him. I don't know if they have the depth to match up with Clemson. Clemson maybe playing at home, they wear them down a little bit in the second half. I think Clemson wins, but I do think it's close. Maybe the closest game in this rivalry in some time. But yes, I'm going to pick Clemson, and I think they finish 11-1. So 11-1, their one loss coming to Notre Dame, obviously not a conference game, so that does put them in the ACC championship. Maybe they lose somewhere else, though. Again, I make my predictions, and then I kind of fill out the wins and the losses. So I have this Clemson team at 11-1. They lose to Notre Dame or maybe Florida State on the road. Somewhere on this schedule, they take a loss and get back to being a great team, but not quite that 12-0 dominant team that we've seen in the past. I've got Clemson here, again, at 11-1 in 2022.